Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your erstwhile host, MagMongoSlade. Friends and relatives, please don't burst into tears. I hope you're not crying right now, as I have to remind you that our immortal tribal chief defeated Cody Rhodes and sent the internet into collective depression. Absolute misery across the board. The sun shall not set on the championship of Roman Reigns, and there are crying children all over the globe. My question before we get there: how does he go back to his wife and everybody and tell them, yeah, this was the plan? Yeah, I knew I was going to lose the entire time. I would imagine that will be something Triple H probably would have told him about 25 minutes before it happened. I couldn't imagine him sitting on that for like 2 or 3 weeks, right? I couldn't imagine him sitting on that for like a month and knowing that he's going into WrestleMania to take the L. I would imagine he got that creative at some point earlier that day. All right. When it was too late. So we'll talk about it later. But man, the misery and death that situation has put upon the wrestling world, oh my goodness. I was not ready. But this is what wrestling is all about, man. People being in their feels, people being disappointed. It can't always be feel goods. We got feel goods on night 1. Night 2 was no feel goods. Night 2 was nothing but shame. Especially after, Shane McMahon apparently tore his quad. His body just collapsed. Everything after that was just problems, right? Just problems. But there was some good stuff. In fact, it started out very strong. Brock Lesnar defeated Omas with an F5, and this match was as fun as it could be. They kept it very basic. Omas did very basic giant offense. Elbows to the back, bear hug, elbows to the back, bear hug. Brock was smiling after Omas tossed him. He tried to take a double leg takedown and Omas picked him up and threw him. Brock started laughing. It's like, this guy's such a warrior, that it's the heat of the battle. He's the underdog and he's smiling, like that's such a great character trait for Brock, because it's very rare that he's in that situation. And now that he is, he's still kind of confident in himself. Once Brock picked up Omas for the German suplex, it was all done. It went exactly the way that I said. You're watching this to see Brock German suplex Omas. It took a little while to get there, but he finally did do it. He did it 3 times. Then he tried to lift him for the F5. It didn't work. Omas kind of countered it. But the next time he picked him up, everybody was like, oh, and it took 1 F5 to do it. He pinned Omas. And the match was probably 6 or 7 minutes flat. That's it. That's all we needed. This was a fine opener. It was fine. It wasn't going to be a classic because Omas is not that talented. But he can do this stuff. And this was very good. I'm not too worried about Omas losing. He lost to Brock. So what? He also lost to Braun Strowman. I'm not so sure how that looks right now. But Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar and he lost to Bobby Lashley too. So he's still interesting as a giant, but you do want to get him some wins against people who matter. I think the last person he beat who matters is AJ Styles. But Brock and Omas was as perfect as it was going to be in terms of what that match was going to be. So I don't know if you expected anything more. Match 2, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez versus Shotzi and Natalya versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. The crowd didn't care about this match. Nobody cared about this match. I guess the crowd kind of got into it the longer it went. But apparently Shayna Baszler got hurt in this match. Therefore, she and Ronda Rousey took a nap. They disappeared for a great length of this match, only to come back and Ronda Rousey to tap out Shotzi with an armbar. Shotzi came out with no tank. Of all times for her not to have a tank is the WrestleMania, where it probably wouldn't, the most people would have seen it. She didn't have a tank. It makes no sense. Also, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler were dressed like Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter. Oh my goodness. Cosplaying. why is there so many cosplaying wrestlers? For Christ's sake. Natalia did a double sharpshooter on Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. I think that was an interesting spot. But ultimately, this was dead. Nobody really cared about this. Speaking of nobody cares, Bobby Lashley came out with his trophy. That was apparently very heavy because he had a problem carrying it. He just wanted to show off his trophy and his suit jacket. Like, that's why he came out there. To smile, show off his trophy and his suit jacket. And I thought that he was going to come out there and demand to fight somebody, but no. No. Nope. He's just there to look good. And he went to the back. And I was like, wow, that was useless. Speaking of useless, Titus O'Neil was on commentary for the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Titus O'Neil was very annoying on commentary. Very annoying. And I basically said if he yells, call the police one more time, I'm muting this. All right. I'm muting it for the rest of the broadcast. Because I didn't know how long he was planning to be there. But thankfully, as I was thinking that he should be muted, he just actually calmed down a little bit, you know. But this match, Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, with the Mike's Hard Lemonade branding literally all over it, it was fantastic. It rivaled Rhea Ripley and Charlotte for the match of the weekend. Depends on, I don't like triple threat matches, to be quite honest, so I will give the nod to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte being two people. Had a fantastic match. These three guys went in there and decided just that they live by Bushido rules and that they're going to go in there and just beat the shit out of each other. And if you live, you live. And Gunther lived. If I tell you that the safest move in the match was a power bomb, that should tell you that either somebody got stabbed in the dick with a syringe or these two guys just went in there and started throwing hands. And what they did was not stab each other in the dick with syringes. They just started using their hands. And it's amazing what you could do with human hands. When you see these three guys and the amount of chopping and punching and pounding, they didn't stop till all three of them had red chests. And I think they have even popped some veins in Sheamus's chest. There was none of that corny two guys working on one guy kind of thing. It was a little bit of that, but not a lot. Most of these guys were in the corner chopping and punching anything that moved. This thing was unbridled madness. All right. This thing was insanity. I loved this match. Drew McIntyre fired off on like what it felt like 40 chops on Gunther to the point where the crowd gave him a standing ovation. I mean, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre beat Gunther so badly that the crowd was basically they were damn near setting the seas on fire. Okay, they were beating the tar out of each other. Like, this was a spectacle. All right, top notch man shit. This was tremendous. I love this. This was phenomenal. The story elements of this match was that Sheamus finally nailed the brogue kick on Gunther, and he got the 2 counts, and then Drew McIntyre grabbed him by the leg and pulled him out of the ring. Sheamus, of course, looked incredulous that Drew once again cost him the Intercontinental Championship before they started fighting each other again. But that little moment there tells me that the Sheamus heel turn is a-coming. It's a-coming. So we're about to get ready for more Sheamus and Drew fisticuffs, which is always good. I like their fisticuffs. They do a good job. Gunther wins via powerbomb on Drew McIntyre. He powerbombed Sheamus on top of Drew McIntyre and then powerbombed Drew McIntyre. Absolutely fantastic match. If anybody told you otherwise, they're a liar. All right. This match just set a new standard. But unfortunately, it was a triple threat match. So for me, I can't tell you. I'll definitely watch it again, you know. But for me, it would have been so much better if it had been one of these guys versus Gunther, you know. And that's just me, though. The branding of Mike's Hard Lemonade. This was almost perfect, wasn't it? You know, Mike's Hard. and is sponsoring this particular match. In which case, these guys are beating the shit out of each other. I remember my days of drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade like it wasn't real alcohol in it. You know, like, oh, you can just drink that. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't drink. Drink some Mike Hard Lemonade. Okay, sure. No, I don't drink that stuff anymore. It's terrible. Okay. Before we go to the next match, I want to state, for the record, WrestleMania, both nights, suffered from absolutely hellacious amounts of branding and commercials. I mean, if you want to have the commercials that, sponsors paying for this stuff, they're helping to pay the talent, they're helping to pay the building, they're helping to pay for this event. I get it. You want to make sure those people get their money's worth. The problem with this is it dreadfully slows up the show. This show was so slow because they had to stop to do all of the commercials. And it had to be branded. Like, if you want to put branding all over the place, fine, I can ignore that. Mike's Hard Lemonade, Sheamus, okay, I don't care. The sin emoji for Rey Mysterio, don't care. You know, want to have Cinnamon Toast Crunch splattered all over the place, I don't care. But when it takes us 6 minutes or whatever to get from this match to this match, because we got to have all of these movie commercials and then all of the in-house commercials too, because now we got to talk about the WrestleMania that was the day before, and we got to talk about Raw that's going to be in the future, and SmackDown is going to be in the future, and then we got to do highlights for this wrestler. It's like, God, no, you could have filled that time with some other stuff. That the hellacious amount of branding really slows this show up, and I cannot stand it. Right? It really made this show feel very, very long. This show was barely an hour in, because this match started, the triple threat match started at like 8:45 or something. I already was tired because of all of the commercials between match 2 and match 3. It was just tons of fucking commercials, and it didn't let up. It just didn't. It just continued throughout the entire show. All right, match 4. Asuka versus Bianca Bel-Air. Bianca Belair goes 3-0 at WrestleMania by defeating Asuka. This match was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. There was some miscommunication and some kind of off chemistry early. Clearly there was some mistakes with, I don't know, maybe it was language barrier or whatever. But there was definitely some mistakes, but the match grew to be so much better. The little divas of Compton for Bianca Belair's entrance stole the show, as far as I'm concerned. They were damn adorable. And I was just kind of like, this is a top tier WrestleMania entrance. I was very, very impressed by those little girls. And I thought it was tremendous. On a human level, this was great. To have all of those little girls with their little braids and everything, it was incredible. So it's already one of my favorite WrestleMania intros. It was tremendous. Now, as far as the match is concerned, again, there were some miscommunications early in the match. There was also some sloppiness. I think they just couldn't get a timing, couldn't get the rhythm. But over time, they ended up getting it, and they had some really good exchanges. Bianca Belair with the gut wrench powerbomb on the floor. It just sounded like it hurt. It really sounded like it hurt. Bianca Belair powered out of a knee bar, which I didn't think was possible, because if you put a knee bar on correctly, you're not powering out of it. I can tell you that much. But that was crazy. Bianca Belair tried to do Claudio's over the rope suplex, but she got it. It worked, but it wasn't as clean as the way Cesaro does it, or Claudio. There was dueling chants in this match, but there was a slight amount of boos aimed at Bianca. Even when she was out there with the little girls, there was some boos. There was some boos during her entrance too. Somebody on the internet said this. Well, I think it was Kevin Castle actually said that Bianca Belair is Jane Cena. That she's girl John Cena. And I'm starting to feel that too, and it's starting to look like it. I was surprised Bianca was going to win this match. That was very surprising to me, because I thought for sure Triple H was going to go with his girl. So the audience didn't get what they wanted, in terms of Bianca Belair losing. But the finish sequence was actually very good. So there was a really good situation here where there was some counters. Asuka countered the KOD into a roll up into an armbar. Bianca Belair then countered the armbar into the KOD. But before that, Asuka went to spit the mist, and she missed. And then she tried to kick Bianca Belair and missed that too. Then Bianca grabbed her and is going to do the KOD, and she rolled through it to the armbar, and then she came out of the armbar with the KOD. Excellent finish. Bianca Belair wins. Similar to Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair needs new contenders. The difference being is that there are still people on the roster that Bianca Belair hasn't wrestled. So, and she's been, playing the background for a little while now. So, there's always more storylines for her to be involved in. But I do see the people who are being frustrated by, her winning. And I know people really liked Asuka. There was a sign that said, well, not a sign, but somebody on the internet said Asuka is 0-5 at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if she's 0-5 at WrestleMania. I think she won something. But I'm shocked to see that. I am. I know she lost to Rhea Ripley. She lost to Bianca Belair. She lost to Charlotte. That's 3. I don't know about the other ones. I think at least one of them was a tag team match. And did they lose that? Was that the Kabuki Warriors versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross? I think it was. Did they lose that too? But I take nerds at their word. And when these come to these statistics, I'll take you at your word. If you say Asuka's 0-5 at WrestleMania, that's crazy. But if it's true, it says a lot that nobody actually noticed. That she's a tremendous perennial contender. She's almost always on the show, but she doesn't win. So this match was solid. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful. It became quite good at the end, but there were some miscues at the beginning. All right, so we get where the show became quite snake bit. Now, things got kind of shitty for WrestleMania right around the Women's Showcase match because it wasn't good and Shayna Baszler got hurt, apparently. It pulled itself from the doldrums with that epic triple threat match. And then it sunk a little bit because Bianca Belair and Asuka took some time to get their groove. But then it ended strong by, Bianca winning and the finishing sequences and everything going off pretty smooth. And then we get Miz and Snoop Dogg. And I was not happy about this at all because I didn't need Miz and Snoop Dogg to do anything on this show. I wanted them to go away. Shane McMahon makes a return. Everybody was very excited. I was like, On the same day the rumors that the sale has gone through, Shane McMahon pops back up. So Snoop Dogg then kind of hires Shane McMahon as a hitman of sorts. So I'm like, what the fuck is this? When did Shane do the bidding of Snoop Dogg? Anyway, because Snoop Dogg was arguing with The Miz, he decided to put The Miz in another match. Miz is in a match with Shane McMahon. He's wrestling in a suit. They do the old drop down, hop over, and Shane McMahon's knee just implodes. And he goes down to the ground, and Miz looks like he wants to kick him or attack him or something, but he's too professional. So he's just kind of just wandering around, and it's over. Shane McMahon cannot move. he can't move. So then they call it on the fly. Snoop Dogg gets in the ring, decks Miz once, walks around, talks some trash, decks Miz again. And while the Miz is out, Snoop Dogg does an elbow drop on him, the sort of the gangster's elbow. I think they called it on Twitter. And he pins the Miz. So somebody had to pin the Miz in this segment, I guess. So it was Snoop Dogg. Hey, look, Snoop tried to save this segment. Miz tried to save this segment. It was an absolute disaster that Shane McMahon's knee is like, hey, Shane, oh no, see you later, Shane. He had his Royal Rumble 2005 moment. He came out there dancing around. He was kind of blown up already anyway. His entrance looked like it was too much for him, for Christ's sake. And Shane McMahon came out there, boy, he looked older than Vince. Not that Vince is in disguise, apparently hiding in the Endeavor offices somewhere with his mustache and his heavily painted hair. Why did he go with jet black though? Like Vince McMahon doesn't have black hair. Like why would he go with jet black for the Just for Men joint? Like why? That means he had to dye the mustache too. My goodness. Did he stand still and let somebody paint that thing on his face? Oh my God, I can't. Shane McMahon is 53 years old. He looks older than his dad because his dad went and got his hair colored and is not embracing his age at all. Vince McMahon is having an end of life crisis. But Shane McMahon and Snoop Dogg, they snake bit the show. Things went downhill from here. So Shane McMahon turns up his legs, and we're like, oh, okay, well. And next thing, we dragging ass for the rest of the show. We're dragging ass until the Hell in a Cell match. And now the Hell in a Cell match is here. Everybody's like, yeah, the red crate is gone, baby. Hell yeah. I'm even happy that the red crate is gone. I'm like, thumbs up, red crate gone. Hell yeah. The regular Hell in a Cell match. Yes, let's do it. Then we have Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe does the introduction for Edge. It's kind of like a monologue that he does because this match is sponsored by his movie, The Pope's Exorcist, because there's branding all over this joint. All right. So I didn't mind it. We get Brood Edge entrance, except no Brood theme. And I'm like, why would you, for starters, why did it say Brood Edge on the Trons? You don't need to tell me it's going to be Brood Edge, right? That's the first thing. Second, why is it Brood Edge, but no Brood theme? We like the Brood theme. We love the Brood theme. Oh, somebody just wanted to spend some money on some kind of licensed song. And look, I am not Caucasian, for the record. I know some people are kind of surprised by that. I don't know who the fuck Slayer is. All right. So when they're like, everybody's online like, oh, Slayer, they're so good. They're so cool. I'm like, who the fuck is that? You know, like, I don't know who that is. I never heard of these people. Play the fucking Jim Johnston Brood theme. I don't give a fuck about Slayer. Play the Brood theme, B. It's a Brood character. Play the Brood theme. So, Edge comes out of the elevator, the Cody Vader, and he's wearing some kind of metallic mirror face. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? See, I don't watch enough movies, dog. I don't watch enough movies. I don't watch enough TV. I don't get it. I didn't get why he had wings. I didn't understand it. I thought he was supposed to be a vampire. I don't know what this is. But I just don't watch enough movies and TV. I'm pretty sure the nerds will tell me. I just stunned by that. But then Edge had his regular theme, and he had his regular entrance. I didn't hate Edge's entrance though. I thought it was good. And the song, the new theme, Slayer, was actually kind of catchy, and it seemed like it fit the situation. So I'm gonna look past it. I would have preferred the regular Brood theme, but the Slayer theme fit perfectly fine. I just, would have preferred the original song because everybody loves that song. So then we get the Demon, and the Demon comes out, and it's not dark. So California once again shits on cool entrances by still being daylight. So we can see the Demon from the very beginning. We can see people crowding around him and everything. He's got like the spiky mohawk thing. Somehow he gets smoke sticks, and he's dancing around with the smoke sticks. And I'm like, okay, all right, sure. It's slow motion too. So somebody put the slow motion camera on it. He had his original Finn Balor theme, which I love. Thank you very much for returning his theme to him and not that gothic, weird Judgment Day theme. So hopefully they go back to Finn Balor's regular theme. Unless he's going to use this theme for his demon persona. All right, so let's get into the match. Enough about the entrances. So we get that the Demon is hard to kill. So the Demon is no selling punches and kicks and getting hit with chairs and stuff. They're playing into the Demon being almost like the Fiend, where, it's harder to hurt him and harder to beat him up. He also seems to be not in a human state of mind because he's constantly growling. Like they said, he's like a zombie from The Walking Dead. He's like, and like he really is possessed, because that's what the monologue with Russell Crowe, who fucking rules, by the way. Russell Crowe fucking rules, okay? And so he's tied up in the cage with kendo sticks. The kendo sticks and the chairs and shit are red. I don't know why. Like, why are the weapons color coded? Why they take the color off the cage and put it into the weapons? I don't know. But they did that, and then they did the really cool drop kick spot in the corner where he kind of sold it a little bit and then went back into Walking Dead, Last of Us mode. And this is kind of how things worked, where the Demon was becoming difficult to defeat. Edge picks up the ladder, chucks it, hits the Demon square in the face with that thing. The referee then proceeds to stop the match for 3 minutes. So Edge is walking around making faces, pulling out weapons, as apparently they stopped Finn Balor's bleeding and stapled his head closed during the match, and it killed the momentum of the match. The momentum of this match was absolutely dead. It was so unnecessary. I know that, it's a PG company. I get it. I'm a big proponent of it being a PG company. I think whatever makes them the most money is the right decision to make. At the same time, this is fucking wrestling. Shit happens. Okay? You can't just stop them. There is no stop clock on life. All right? People got shit to do in the morning. People got shit to do later tonight. Let's get this thing moving. All right? Just wipe his face and call it a day. Wipe his face, let him continue to do his thing. If he continues to bleed, wipe his face again and let him keep going. They created a situation in which a guy who is pretending to be a demon had to be stopped, had to be held down and his head stapled because the doctors won't let him fight. What the fuck? A vampire guy caused you to bleed. This causes the match to stop. And now he has to staple your head closed before you can fight again. I am disappointed. This joint shit the bed. I'm not even gonna lie. It shit the bed. Look, I didn't hate the match. I don't think the match was awful. But it kills the rewatchability of it if you have to stop it. Because the match is stopped. You would think that maybe they would edit that part out on the replay and I think that would be the most effective way of making this a watchable match again, is if you go back on the network maybe tomorrow morning and all of that downtime is edited out of the match and you go from him getting hit in the face with the ladder to when he comes back and he's fighting again. And it is like the downtime never happened. That would make this match infinitely more watchable. But because it's live and we're all watching it live, we had to wait 3 minutes for the doctors to do whatever it is to stop him from bleeding. And it fucked with everything. They really had some decent spots put up. They were throwing weapons at each other, throwing chairs in each other's faces. It was pretty brutal stuff. It was a fun match. Finn Balor climbed the cell, was going to do the coup de grace off the cell through the table, but Edge moved, and it seemed like they had hella good plans set up, and just the ladder hitting him in the face ruined it. Now they have to rush things. The finish came with the concerto, which is a logical finish. Unfortunately, it's almost the exact same finish as, when the Fiend lost in the Hell in a Cell match. He got blasted in the head with a bunch of weapons, and the referee stopped it. Very cool spot where, Edge throughout the match was doing different brood moves. He did the Impaler DDT. He also did the Impaler DDT off the top of a ladder, which was great. The announcers are talking about how the Demon is not really, hurt by any of this stuff. He's just powering through it, which is all fine. All of that's fine. He did the kill switch, or what Christian called the unprettier. It was sweet. Like, they did a lot of cool stuff here, but that downtime, my God, bro, it really took me out of the match. Like, it took me out. I don't know about you, but I kind of I shrugged after this. I'm like, I don't know, man. Cause I basically forgot what happened before it, because I was like, oh my God. So now I'm literally doing anything else to kill time. But I can't stand here and watch Edge fiddle fuck around with tables and stuff and not know whether this guy is about to end this match or not. Because that's what I'm thinking. It's taken so long. Usually they stop the match, wipe the blood away or whatever, and call it a day. It took so long. I'm thinking they're about to stop this. They're going to stop this match. And thankfully they didn't, but it seemed to me like they were gonna. And I was getting frustrated. I really getting frustrated by this. But ultimately the match was fine. It was fine. I didn't hate it. But it was the momentum died. And they didn't have time to get it back. Also, maybe the match was too long, but then again, we don't know if the match was extended because of the injury, and maybe, there was extra minutes given so that they could finish the story they wanted to tell. Or maybe the match was just booked to be long. Edge likes long matches. I don't know. But it felt like it was really long, but it also was long because they stopped it in the middle of it. So after that, we got a ton of commercials again. More commercials and more commercials. Before Cody Rhodes makes his epic entrance, he's wearing wings. There's tons of pyro. He hugs his daughter. He kisses his wife and his mom and his sister. He takes off his weight belt, gives it to Brody, John Huber's son, who is -1 in AEW. He flew them out there for WrestleMania. He flew the Hubers out there for WrestleMania. Roman Reigns comes out there, and the pyro budget is still busting, because Roman got tons of fucking pyro. I think WWE spent more money on pyro than Impact made in a year. I'm pretty sure no wrestling company has the budget that WWE spends on pyro. Just tons of fucking pyro. Samantha Irvin absolutely nails the introductions, and we're off to the races. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, there's electricity in the air. It's tense. I even turned the lights down, just to set the stage. I turned the lights off. We're in the mode now, We're about to watch Roman and Cody do their thing. We're about to watch the beginning of a new era. That's what I thought. I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked. I was deceived. The wool was pulled over my eyes. The carpet yanked from under my feet because Cody Rhodes was defeated, which was hilarious. I'm not even gonna hold you up. It was fucking hilarious. The match itself, really good match until the ref bump. Cody he kept making very strong comebacks. Roman knew how to cut him off, but Cody kept making good comebacks. Cody made a comeback. He bounced off the ropes to do the Cody Cutter. He ends up getting powerbombed. The second time he does it, he actually hits the Cody Cutter. The third time he tries the Cody Cutter, he catches a Superman punch for his trouble. Cody powers up again. He gets some, power slam, uppercuts. He puts him in the figure four. Roman reverses the figure four. He even hits a crossroads. He gets 1 count. He gets 2 count, and he kicks out. Then we get the ref bump. And Cody even powered out of Roman's guillotine at one point before the ref bump. So when the ref bump happens, I immediately just started shaking my head like, no, Moss, I don't want this. I don't want this. Solo Sikoa came out there with Roman earlier. He had gotten ejected for repeated cheating. He stabbed Cody with a chair, and then he also whipped Cody with the belt, the weight belt, which he stole from Brody Jr. So he gets ejected. The Usos come out there after the ref bump, which is exactly what we didn't need in the main event of WrestleMania, because we've been down this road before, right? Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens comes out there to fight them off. They just had a match. I don't see why we needed to do this. At this point, Cody is, he's firing back. He gets 2 crossroads on Roman. The referee is down. The referee is distracted by Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman's up on the apron. Cody hit the 2 crossroads and is waiting to hit the 3rd one, when Solo Sikoa sneaks into the ring and jams his thumb into his neck with the Samoan spike. He then vanishes into the ether that he came from. Roman then bounces off the ropes, hits the spear, and Cody does not kick out. The air leaves the room. Everybody's staring at their screen like, okay, clearly something's about to happen here. It wasn't quite like the Undertaker's streak being broken. I'm not going to go that far and be that hyperbolic. I don't think anything will ever surpass that, but this was a level of confusion and disappointment that was about the same as Sami Zayn losing in Montreal. That was about the same as Drew McIntyre losing in London or Wales or wherever the fuck they were. It was about the same. That idea of, okay, what now? That bewilderment. There were some people there who were pretty overjoyed. Not gonna lie to you. Roman has his fans, and I'm one of them. I'm more a fan of Roman than I am of Cody. So we're all sitting back and we're all looking like, that didn't just happen, did it? And it did. Roman beat him. And of course, all the know-it-alls on the internet is like, well, this is the worst booking decision of all time. They just Lex Lugered Cody. It's over. He's done for. And all I can say is what I said earlier. Can you imagine that's the creative? You would have thought the bag was secure. And I instantaneously started saying to myself, well, I watched other people's reactions. I knew what reaction I had, which was just, wow. And, I can't believe they did that. That's very ballsy, That was where my initial reaction was like, wow, they have a brass set of balls on people, on them to do this. It's one thing to do it once. It's one thing to do it twice, but to do it 3 times, ooh wee baby. You testing the waters. Now look, I love Roman. We love the bloodline story. It is fantastic. Question though is, can you have too much of a good thing? I had a brownie today. It was kind of decadent, pretty good. Chocolate chip brownie. I haven't had one in a while. If I have a chocolate chip brownie every day, that might be too much. If I have 2 or 3 a day, that might be too much. So the bloodline is drawing, for sure. They're a huge draw. You did the right thing by taking the tag team titles away from the Usos, but you couldn't pull yourself to take that title away from Roman. Which tells me, if you wasted a year of Cody's life, the big comeback from the torn pec, the Royal Rumble win, you jobbed out Sami Zayn while he was extremely hot, killed his momentum. Of course, it's still there. He got a huge moment at WrestleMania the previous day. Not to belittle that at all, but it wasn't winning the world title, singles world title. It's still a main event at WrestleMania, but he didn't win a singles world title. And all of that was supposed to be in service that Cody was the next guy. He was the guy in line. And now we see that that's not the plan either. So my thing is, you got to have some strong crack in your back pocket in order to get people over the hump. Because you're going to get to the point where everybody's going to be looking at this and there's going to be this idea that you're never going to end this storyline. You're never going to end the Cody Road, the Roman Reigns story. It's never going to end. It's going to go on forever because there's nobody that they can look at that's visible that they can see Roman beating Roman. Even if you want to just pull names out of a hat, Randy Orton, let's say. Randy Orton's a good challenger, a good credible contender. Does Randy Orton need to beat Roman Reigns? No. So will Randy Orton beat Roman Reigns? No. Would Matt Riddle? No. Would Bobby Lashley? No. None of these people are Bobby Lashley couldn't even get on this show. He got to show up and smile, and that's it. That was his WrestleMania paycheck. He showed up and smiled. He's not even important enough to make sure he's on the card, and you had 2 fucking weeks to figure it out. And they couldn't even figure out how to get him. They figured out how to get Shane McMahon on this motherfucking card. They figured out how to make that shit happen. How to get George Kittle on the show. They couldn't figure out how to get Lashley on this motherfucking show. But all of a sudden, he's going to be the guy that's going to really get in there and beat Roman. It's not enough to just say, well, Roman hasn't had a match with these people yet. The idea should be that these people can beat Roman Reigns, not just matches that he can have. He can have a match with fucking Akira Tozawa. Nobody will buy a ticket to see Roman Reigns wrestle Akira Tozawa. How do you sell Roman Reigns versus any of the people that I just mentioned? Randy Orton kind of sells itself. Lashley maybe, but Riddle. How do you sell a ticket for that match? What do you do in that situation? You're in a. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. Let's say the plan is The Rock, which is, the long shot. That on Monday Night Raw, The Rock comes out there, challenges Roman Reigns to a match. Okay, fine. Let's say you do that. That'll make people forget that Cody lost. But that match is 11 months away. They're not doing it before WrestleMania. That would be foolish. So you got to deal with Roman for 11 more months until next fucking April. You still got to find a way to sell pay-per-views and shit like that to that point. So I am definitely looking at this thing like, I don't know. And I know that Roman's been doing interviews saying that the Bloodline story, that they're nowhere near finished with this. And they got a lot more in the chamber in terms of the Bloodline story. They better hope so. But they nuked Cody. I'm telling you. I'm not saying it's over for him. I'm not going to say that. But I'm just saying when the show starts, when Monday Night Raw starts, what does Cody say? How does he rub some soothing balm on the people who believed in him, who bought the t-shirts, who came and bought the tickets? What do you say and what do you do? This isn't a B pay-per-view. If this was a B pay-per-view and Cody lost, I'd be like, okay, it's fucking Battleground. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. This is the main event of WrestleMania. All right. You only get one WrestleMania a year. Well, 2, technically. And they did the whole torn pec storyline. They jobbed out Seth Rollins 3 times in a row to this fucking guy. And we're sitting here like, now what? The immortal Roman Reigns. You might as well retire the fucking belt. At this point, he's gonna retire undefeated as champion. And you're really without a plan of anywhere to go. And since there's no light at the end of the tunnel, you might see people start to bail on this storyline. The reason why people continue with it because of after a Clash at the Castle is because, all right, there is this belief that there was somebody else coming. There was Cody. And then some people even knew that the Sami Zayn thing was going to come eventually. Montreal, everybody, same thing. People was okay with the finish because the idea was, all right, there's always going to be Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. That thing is coming. And everybody was like, yeah, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. Cody is going to wrestle Roman. And now we're going to get this thing and it's going to get fixed. But now you got to ask the question, bro, how do we even get over this hump? Because we really don't have anything now. We're looking like, okay, now what? And I'm a story guy, my emotional investment is there, but it's minimal in comparison to other people. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm saying, from a story perspective, I don't see why Roman Reigns won this match. Some people are calling it the booking blunder of the century or some nonsense, and I'm not going to be hyperbolic in that way. I'm not going to say like, Triple H shit the bed, and I will say that unless he's got a hell of a plan for Monday, I don't see how you make this right. The disappointment is too much. People are now no longer seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And I know people are saying it's the dark middle period of the story where you do find that it's difficult to pull yourself out of it. And I say, well, maybe that's true, but there needs to be light at the end of the tunnel. In every story, there's going to be failure. There's going to be the hero gets close and falls just short. But there's still light at the end of the tunnel. When it comes to this Cody situation, he got jobbed out by the bloodline. But that happened literally to everybody. And most of these people didn't get rematches. Kevin Owens got 100 rematches during the pandemic, but that was it. Finn Balor never got a rematch. Rey Mysterio never got a rematch. He got destroyed anyway. Most of these guys never got rematches. So the question is, who the fuck you got? Who do you got? Who is the guy that you have in the chamber right now that you can say openly that this is the guy we're going to put the belt on? You can't tell me it's going to be Braun Breaker. I know people are going to be in the comment section. It's going to be Braun Breaker. Why? How do you even figure that? Braun Breaker hasn't had a promo on the main roster. He's had like one match on the main roster. And that was a match against Dolph Ziggler in the middle of a random Raw. Like, you're putting too much pressure on this guy. He's like 24. With no personality, no character whatsoever. At least not right now. And I love Braun Breaker. So if I'm sitting here saying that he's not the right guy right now, you need somebody right now. Okay? And I've seen people, they've made all kinds of claims. Now look, as far as the future, Cody and Roman are about the same age. I think he might be a year or two younger than Roman. So they're peers, essentially. So it's not like Cody was some fresh-faced 30-year-old or something like that. He's actually 36, 37 or something like that. So it's not like Cody was going to be a silver bullet, new fresh-faced, baby face or whatever that was going to reign for a long time. He wasn't the next John Cena. And we're still looking at this situation, asking ourselves, what on earth did you do? Like, what did you do here? Cody was the only one left. The only real big star that was remaining that Roman hadn't beaten. And now you've beaten him. So now we're fucked, essentially. And I've run the simulation in my mind that perhaps they do a rematch and Cody wins the rematch, which is the only other option I can think of, is that they do a rematch on Raw or they do a rematch on SmackDown or something like that and Cody wins the title. It won't have the same cachet as him winning it at WrestleMania, but I'm just sitting here saying to myself, like, bro, will people get behind him again? Did you effectively Lex Luger this guy by making him, super over, super baby face that people was 100% behind? People were ready for Roman to lose. It seemed like everything was set for Roman to lose, and then you went the opposite direction. Did you go too far? Did you finally eat too many brownies? Did you finally, take one too many shots and now you're delirious and about to pass out in the garbage? Is that what's happening here? Did Triple H OD on the Bloodline story? Did Roman convince you that they got more left and not to take the belt off of them? Did Endeavor step in and say, hey, we about to buy the company, leave this guy in the position? Because, we don't know what the hell kind of conversations are being had. We don't know. And I've seen people try to do that. They're blaming everybody. They're blaming Roman Reigns for being selfish and not help putting people over. They're blaming Endeavor. They're blaming Vince. They're blaming Triple H. They're blaming everybody. I'm just looking like, okay, we don't know what's going on yet. I have no idea what's going on. I can only speculate. And since I'm saying the same person who made the decision to put the tag team titles on on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, is the same person that made the decision that Roman should win. I'm guessing those are the same people. So whoever made that decision, and you get tons of credit for it, you made this decision too, and you should get criticized for it. But until we know what the next step is, it's hard to say whether it was a mistake or not. I think the crowd was ready for it. I think everybody was ready for it. I want to know the reason why you wouldn't do it. And that's another thing I'm thinking about is maybe, again, they know something we don't know. Maybe there's a reason why they wouldn't go with him. But it's a shame either way. This WrestleMania, the second part, was not nearly as fun as the first one. First WrestleMania, Saturday WrestleMania, was glorious from top to bottom. We got the feel-good moments all the way through. No matches were stopped for injury. There weren't any chemistry issues throughout the night. The mid segments went off without a hitch. Nobody collapsed, their knees shattering in a million pieces or whatever. But that night too, it seemed like it just couldn't get right. Omas and Brock Lesnar is the only match that kind of went exactly as it should have gone. And then that was it. Baszler got hurt in the second match. The third match was tremendous. Best match of the night. One of the best matches of the weekend. The fourth match was plagued with miscommunication between Asuka and Bianca Belair. Then Shane McMahon brought us into the doldrums by tearing his quad or destroying his knee or ankle or whatever it was. And then they had the Hell in a Cell match, which stopped for 3 minutes due to blood. And then the main event went the wrong way in terms of booking. And they had a pretty generic bloodline interferes, ha ha ha, Roman wins, he's immortal finish. And everybody's looking at themselves, like, wow, what a waste of a night. Another 4 hours of my life missed. And the crowd was amped. They kept bouncing back. They didn't shit on anything. They could have shit on that Hell in a Cell match when it had so much downtime. They didn't. They could have shit on Bianca Belair and Asuka when they weren't, performing to their best level early in the match. They didn't. They mostly ignored the women's showcase match when they could have shit on that too. They didn't. This was a very generous audience. And Triple H decided to fuck this audience over by not giving them pretty much anything that they wanted. They wanted Bianca to lose. They didn't get that. A lot of people wanted Finn Balor to win. They didn't get that. And they wanted Cody to win. They didn't get that. So the only thing that they did get, that they asked for, kind of, was Brock and Omas. So I'm not going to go on record and saying that WrestleMania 20 or 39 Part 2 is absolute garbage. I'm close to saying it was absolute garbage, but then you also have the triple threat match was on this show, and it was next level, right? As far as triple threat matches go, it's one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. It's an absolute humdinger, all right? Match was fucking fantastic. But, I'm not going to blame them for the injuries that happened, because injuries happen. I'm talking about the unforced error of some of the booking decisions. Those things really kind of did damage to the show. And you can't tarnish episode 1 of WrestleMania 39. That show was just tremendous from top to bottom. And as its own entity, was a great WrestleMania. WrestleMania Night 2 was it was not nearly on the same level. And it's unfortunate because everybody worked hard, but a lot of the things that happened were out of their control. And it just sucks that those type of situations occurred, but we're stuck with what we're stuck with. What did you guys think of WrestleMania Night 2? Personally, I didn't really care for it. It dragged, and I wasn't really as interested in the matches because this was a show where the matches didn't have a lot of story. Well, Bianca and Asuka didn't have much of a story. Omas and Brock didn't have much of a story. The showcase match didn't have a story at all. It is what it is. I'm tired of talking. I said what I needed to say. I could talk all day if you let me, but I'm not going to do that. Let me know what you guys think. Do all the YouTube things. Like, share, subscribe. Thank everybody for your time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Maybe I'll enjoy the show more on a second watch. I doubt it, though. But we'll see. Talk to you guys later. Peace.